public domain, young Econ. Gotcha!
This one of them!
I'll send you back in the fucking grave!
Good evening.
It's a pleasure.
It seems...
Yes, it was.
I'm glad your procedure was a success, Mr. Fiddick. That's good news in these...
Dr. Aykroyd may seem distant and cold, but he's good at his job, and that's all I needed. God bless him.
Dedication does not always generate...
Not only did he save my arm, he saved my life. There's many that wouldn't survive without this hospital.
I think it's too soon for you to go back to work.
Oh, I'm fine. And with this flu and all, no one else has the time to help repair the hospital. I'm glad I can help, Dr. Reed.
And what about your family?
My children visited this morning. I explained to them that Dad had to stay a little bit longer to repay the good doctors here.
How are your children?
It's been a long time since I saw them smile. With their mother dead, I'm their only family. They were worried sick with me here.
So, you're happy to work here?
It's the least I can do, really. I'm a good chippy, you know. And it's much safer than my previous job.
Really? Is it safer to work in a...
The epidemic is not the only threat we face. My wife died during a German bombing raid.
Are you still blaming yourself for your injury?
No. I know I took a chance and I got careless. But everything's good. I promise my boy will be all right.
I don't think I saw your children in the Pembroke Hospital.
They're still young, Dr. Reed. They never go out at night, and you're never here during the day.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer.
How are your children?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
How are things now Dr. Swansea is back?
He visited me soon after his return. He asked me if I'd agree to some experimental procedure.
Is there anything else that's bothering?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I...
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be...
Goodbye for... Good evening, Mr. Gosling.
Good evening, Doctor.
How are you feeling tonight?
As selfish as it sounds, the death of my mother forced me to stop drowning in self-loathing. It's almost like she saved me after all.
Your medical report says you're not affected by...
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't...
And why do you think you don't...
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here.
Why stay here, since you...
I must admit I feel comfortable around here, despite the epidemic.
Finance the hospital? That's...
Let me be frank with you, Dr. Reed. I hope this cash injection will incite the hospital administration to forget.
I suspect you're not from the East.
I've always lived in my mother's house by Holland Park Avenue. I don't know if I'll go back there now. Not after everything.
Do you really feel better since your mother died, Mortimer? Or are you just more adept at hiding?
I'm beyond despair, Doctor. But I know now I will not...
Your mother loved you more than anything. I know she would have killed for you.
I didn't realize you knew my mother so well. But then again, I'm a little at a loss in this hospital.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about a feeling of utter despair, of the world crumbling around you.
Yes. When I saw my dead mother, I realized why she feared so much to see me dead. Because she could not bear the pain.
What do you get?
That mankind is as selfish as it is generous. As a species, we all are as beautiful as we are disgusting.
What is your plan now your mother...
In fact, I truly don't know.
It's the same for us all.
I don't know if I'll ever have my mother's strength. But I can try.
How are things now, Doctor?
Better, I suppose.
Goodbye, Miss...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Jonathan, my dear, I can never thank you enough.
Thank me? For what?
Come now, you know what I mean. I am... well, I'm just like you.
I'm glad you like it.
How could I not be happy? You offered me the ultimate freedom. More than I ever could have dreamt of.
Have you news of Jeffrey McCullum? I'm sure both of you would have quite an interesting discussion after...
He left the hospital without being treated for the severe beating you gave him. We'll meet again soon enough.
Do you not think he will kill you where you stand?
Funny you should mention it. I asked him once what he would do if I were a vampire. He said he would give me an hour for old time's sake.
What will you do now that you are immortal?
Experiment, my dear colleague. I have an eternity to make scientific progress. I could be the only scientist able to undertake extreme experiments upon himself.
My God, Edgar!
I have, I swear. No more experiments on mortals. See? I said mortals. How quickly the mind adapts.
What kind of experiments?
Who knows? Nervous shock, brain damage, pain and recovery. There's almost no limit to what my body can now endure. I could be the next Henry Head.
How do you feel since you changed?
Absolutely fine. Did you know I can determine the health of every patient or nurse just by looking at him?
Have you taken a...
Don't you think that's a private matter? I would not ask you such an indiscreet question.
Do you feel the hunger?
Yes. It's very peculiar, not like mortal hunger at all. It's like I'm never sated. Fortunately, blood is no rare commodity at Pembroke.
Will you continue?
Of course. I can help more than ever. And since I'm already dead, I can't get sick.
Are you not afraid Priwen will find you? Next time, they will do more than abduct and torture you.
I remain a man of peace. If things were to go awry, I would flee rather than slice them up as you would.
Have you seen Elizabeth?
No. And I'm terrified to see her again. I really am, Jonathan. She could very well tear me to pieces for what I did.
Goodbye, Edgar. Good evening, Dr. Tim.
Dr. Reed.
Do you need any medical...
Yes, indeed.
I will... Goodbye.
It's a leech! Kill it! I ought here to step back! This one's mine! McLean! It's on to us!
What good fortune brings you back to me, Jonathan? What is it, my dear?
I'm afraid it's bad news, Elizabeth. The worst, actually.
Please, speak up.
Edgar is no longer in McCullum's grasp. I resolved that matter.
Where is our good friend now? Is he well?
Of a sort. His injuries were mortal. I had no choice but to make him one of us. To save him. Or to punish him.
To punish him? I fail to understand. And what is the source of this cold tone in your voice?
Edgar Swansea was responsible for the Skull epidemic, Elizabeth. It was he who unleashed the deadly scourge upon London.
What? Are you certain? This is the most terrible accusation of all.
He confessed everything to me. He sought to cure the disease, to exploit vampire blood to stop the epidemic. But he unwittingly gave birth to a catastrophe.
All those poor victims. How could he do it? What happened?
Edgar gave no heed to ethics. His theory could have been proven to be correct, but he abused the confidence of his patients to test it.
I must say I'm shocked, Jonathan. Who would have thought it? And the poor patient. Let me guess. It was Harriet Jones, was it not?
Yes. That explains how Doris Fletcher was infected. and how she became an Icor. She secretly visited her mother at Pembroke.
Then we have no choice. We must act quickly, Jonathan. We must return to the sewers and put an end to the threat poor Harriet embodies.
I have one more matter to discuss with you. Harriet Jones was the primary case, but do you know what a healthy carrier is?
There is a tone in your voice that frightens me, Jonathan. What are you trying to say?
It was your blood Edgar used for his experiment on Harriet Jones.
What? No. No. This can't be. Oh.
Elizabeth, are you all right?
No, I have to go.
What do you mean?
Leave me alone. Save the city, Jonathan. Save what can be saved.
Elizabeth, I need answers. Why did your blood
Stay
cause
away
this?
from me. Please. I swear I never was your
Wait!
enemy.
No! Elizabeth! Now would be a good time to blend the recipe Marshall used when he fought the disaster. I think I know where to find what I need.
Let's pin him down! I'll send you to hell!
Whose blood could be purer than that of William Marshall? Lord Redgrave will have to spare.
Stupid you look no match for me!
Sir, you are not welcome here. Sir, you are not welcome here.
I'm still persona non grata in the Ascalon Club. If I want to speak with Lord Redgrave...
You Londoners are no match for me!
Good evening, Lord Redgrave.
What are you doing here, traitor? I shall smite you for this audacity.
I'm not here to bicker, Lord Redgrave. I can put an end to this epidemic, but I need your assistance to do so.
All is already lost. The city verges on collapse. The epidemic has spread so widely. Disgusting scals are everywhere.
The epidemic could be stemmed if I destroy the original carrier. England can be saved, but only with Marshall's blood.
The blood of William Marshall? Of my maker? Are you mad? This blood is the purest of all. My maker proffered it to me on the battlefield. I cannot hand it to you.
This is more important than the club, you or me. This is London's last hope.
I see. Well, in that case, given the gravity of the situation, I suppose I can spare you a drop.
Thank you, my lord.
If you manage to save this city, you'll prove yourself a veritable servant of the crown. So Godspeed, Dr. Reed. Our fate lies wholly in your hands.
Stop! Right now! This one's mine! Roll back to the... Now that's bathroom and leave, boy!
I cannot use garlic, but there may be a substitute in the Pembroke Hospital drug storage.